Hi guys, so the very last essay for this semester is the argument essay. And argument in this frame does not mean a fight. We're not talking about like an argument between brother and sister or parent and child or anything like that. So it's not emotional like that really in any way. It's not trying to like jazz up all of these emotions and go after someone. That's not the kind of argument we're talking about. So I want to point out a couple of things in your textbook that are really useful in framing the way you want to think about your argument and then the way you want to write about your argument and how you want to write about your thesis, whatever your point is. So in the textbook, Subject and Strategy, I'm looking on page 377, and the second paragraph says, in reasoned argument, we attempt to convince listeners or readers to agree with a particular point of view. You can also have the purpose in some argument to convince readers to do something like donate money to a charity or to spend some time volunteering. So those are also good purposes for argument. But in the world of academic writing that you'll do at school, your argument kind of writing really is at the heart of all good essay writing. You've already been doing this, just in slightly different ways. So in an argument, whatever your thesis is a point of view. It is a statement that you are saying is true. Then by the end of the essay, after you've presented all your reasons and all of your proof, by the end of the essay, your goal is that the reader should agree with your point of view. They should finish the essay and go, well, yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Absolutely. So your purpose is to be convincing. So how do you do that? If you look on page 379 in your textbook, there are 3 Greek words that we're going to spend a little bit of time with. These are called the classical rhetorical appeals. So in good argument writing, you want to be appealing, right? You want to appeal to your reader to agree with you. So how can you do that? How can you be convincing and persuasive and appealing? Well, these 3 pieces of appeals date all the way back to Aristotle, so ancient Greece. He's one of the big 3 of the ancient Greek philosophers, the first being Socrates, the second being Plato, and the third being Aristotle. And then one of Aristotle's students was Alexander the Great. So, we can keep going through history. But Aristotle kind of questioned what makes a good argument. Like in his time period, arguing was speech. So like speaking before the Senate. What made a good speech? What made it convincing? So Aristotle decided, well, 3 things make it convincing. And if you look on page 379, those 3 words are in blue down the page: ethos, logos, and pathos. I think an easy way to think about this is to think about them in a triangle. And I'm going to use my handy dandy marker and draw this for you. Again, just like in the cause and effect essay. So let me quickly here draw a triangle. So these 3 appeals are all related to each other, and they all are connected. Without one, the whole thing kind of falls apart. So all 3 are naturally part of any communication we do. When writing an academic argument essay, you want to just make sure you're really paying attention to how you do these so that you're really convincing. So 3 elements of any communication is first, there has to be a topic that you are communicating about. Otherwise, there is no communication. Then there is the person doing the communication. So in this case, a writer, you, right? And there's always a person receiving the communication. That's your audience. In this case, a reader. So each of these Greek words has to do with each one of these pieces. So the topic is connected to the appeal of logos. And if you look at that word, you can tell there are a lot of English words that derive from this Greek word. A key one is logic, right? You can see how it has the same root. So if you are able to take your topic and talk about it in a highly logical way, right? A way that makes a heck of a lot of sense, a way that might be backed up with research or backed up with science or with statistics, that's appealing to a reader. That makes a reader go, oh yeah, I get it. That makes sense. For you, the writer, the appeal that is connected with that is ethos. So if you think about English words that share that root, that Greek word root, it's pretty clear that the one that's most obvious is ethics. You want to prove somehow that you are trustworthy, right? That you are ethical. So how do you do that in your writing? Well, you do it through good research. You do it through presenting your argument step by step in a way that's really clear and obvious. You do it by using good grammar, right? You can kill your ethos. You can kind of really tank it if you use bad research or you don't even use proper grammar. That kind of makes your trustworthiness go down the drain. So as you're writing, you want to think, how can I build this sense that I'm trustworthy, that whoever is reading this can believe me and trust what I'm saying? So then the final one, audience, goes with the appeal of pathos. I can barely see my T. So some English words that share this Greek root are words like pathetic, but also words like sympathy or sympathetic and empathy. Pathos is feeling, it's emotion. So while we don't want to be highly emotional like we're duking it out, it's not that kind of argument, we still want to make sure that we are appealing to a certain sense of emotion and feeling that our audience has. We want to make them feel good. We might want to make them angry, right? We might want to show this, let's say I'm writing about child abuse and I want to make my audience mad that it exists. Then the words I choose are going to feed that. So pathos, this emotional appeal to the audience, is all about your word choice. So if you're choosing strong details and vivid verbs, right, this goes all the way back to the narrative essay. This is what we've been working on and working up to. If you use very strong word choice, you're going to be appealing to your audience. You're going to be very convincing and persuasive. So here's what I'd like for you to do. You don't have to do anything for the argument essay this week. We're going to start working on it next week. And I'm going to see your topics and we're going to talk through it a little bit. But for this week, what I'd like for you to do is to read the argument assignment sheet, which is posted with the assignment sheets in Moodle. So the link that is assignment sheets. And then looking at these pages in subject and strategy, really start processing and thinking the kind of writing, the kind of thesis and topic that's going to fit with this particular essay. So when you read the assignment sheet, your topic choice is anything that has to do with language. Remember, everything in this class is connected to language. You can make any argument you want. You could write that writing essays in college is a pointless use of language. I mean, you could, you won't convince me, but think about how big the world of language is and come up with a point of view. Come up with a statement that you then can prove is true. This particular essay is also going to use research, just like the cause and effect essay that you're turning in the final draft for this week. So you might want to do a little bit of research before you decide on a topic. You know, jump onto Google, do a little brainstorming, but then look in the databases. Look in the library sources that you're using and should use for your research and see what the experts are writing about. That's a great way to brainstorm for topics. Okay, so this week, turn in the cause and effect essay, and then turn to the textbook and then these ideas for the argument essay and just start mulling that over in your mind. And we'll take a look at it next week. All right. Have a great week.